Well, well. Here we are, just again a month out from the supposed announcement that the checks at our side of the border are now going to start being fully implemented. But as I've said before, we have been here before. We were here literally at the beginning of October. And then literally a week before they were meant to kick in, the government said, no, we're kicking them down the can again, kicking the can down the road again. And we've been here time and time again because, quite frankly, the ports are not ready, the infrastructure is not there, the customs officials are not there, the vets are not there. It just isn't ready. Europe's been ready. Europe's been ready for ages. Because the thing is, this involves spending money. And the government does not want to be seen spending money on, shockingly, Brexit for all these bizarre reasons. Again, I really couldn't answer that question as to why they're not spending money on something that they knew was going to happen. But you may remember, of course, the very much, back in April, indeed, the very much touted phrase by Boris Johnson that these problems at the ports were just teething problems, that these will just go away. Well, unfortunately, as you can see from the title here, channel trade is still worsening as 79% of firms report holdups. So without further ado, let's dive in and find out what these problems are. But if you've been following this, you already know what these problems are. So please do remember to hit that like, share, and subscribe button. And of course, down below, there are links to my Patreon page and a one-off donation link called Buy Me Coffee, where you can, again, buy me coffee. And as always, thank you very much to all those people who do support the channel that way. So let's dive into this. This comes from The Independent, the title of Brexit delays to cross-channel trade are still worsening as 79% of firms report holdups. Delays to cross-channel trade are still worsening, almost a year after Brexit checks came in, says a study also highlighting the rising costs and key staff shunning in the UK. No less than 79% of firms trading with France have reported holdups in the 3 months up to September, crucially 6% more than in the second quarter of the year. The delays are also lengthening, with 42% of businesses taking an additional 2 to 3 weeks to import goods compared to 28% in April to July. So as you can see, all these numbers are just going up. They show no sign of coming down. And of course, some 82% of firms say logistic costs have risen, and imports and 34% of exports, the survey by the French Chamber of Great Britain found. And also 30% of cut staff directly as a result of Brexit. Some reportedly saying problems of attracting European talent to the UK following the divorce from the EU. Of course, Boris Johnson claimed that these were just teething problems when traders hit the trouble back at the start of 2021. But the French Chamber has warned of the potential serious supply chain issues that threaten Christmas deliveries. What this data reveals is the supply chain issues between France and the UK don't seem to be getting any better since the start of the year, said Samarais Sangwapi, its director. What we are most concerned about, of course, is the reduced numbers of young people having access to the career opportunities on both sides of the channel. Youth mobility is a critical issue right now, and we have to get this right beyond Brexit in 2022. The report was seized by the UK. We know there are a lot of questions. The report was seized by the UK Trade and Business Commission of the cross-party MPs and industry groups, which have urged the government to step in. So it comes just weeks before the long-delayed introduction of the post-Brexit border controls of imports to the UK is set to start, which is feared will hit the trade even harder. Naomi Smith, the chief executive of the Best for Britain group, which helped set up the commission, said, "What the government once called teething problems have now become a chronic condition. This is a failure. This is their failure to reduce the barriers and streamline the process they created and has made delays far worse than when we first left the EU." Tamara Clerk, the chief executive of the Fashion Roundtable, a member, said, These new checks would come in a matter of weeks, and less than a quarter of small businesses are actually ready. The government must step up for small businesses who receive even more of that costly red tape administrative burden. The report by the Chamber, which represents over 400 companies, say that the imports and exports to France is the latest evidence of the trading damage from leaving the single market and customs union. The Office for National Statistics found that 23.1% of the plunge in goods of trade between the UK and the EU in the first quarter of 2021, compared with the same period in 2018, when trade with other countries remained stable. The National Audit Office has also found the cost to UK exporters has risen by 17 billion, while firms filed an extraordinary 48 million extra customs declarations and over 140,000 export health certificates in just 8 months. The French Chamber says that the total trade in goods and services between the UK and France fell from 74.2 billion in the year of June to 2020 to just 64.1 billion in the year later. That's a huge drop off. That's a huge drop off in money there. And again, when these new checks come in, or at least they're expected to come in, and we're talking about obviously the vet checks, the sanitary checks for health, rules of origin checks as well. All these are set to come in literally less than a couple of weeks away. And remember, we've been here before. So I will fully expect and not be shocked if the government allow this, just kick the can once again down the road. It's what they've done before. They know they know that this is a problem. And remember, this doesn't go back, like, this isn't a problem that's just going to affect this year. This goes back all the way back years ago to like 2017, when people were saying, okay, this is what is going to happen. We need this infrastructure in place. We need the people at the ports. We need to get all these extra vets in ready. You know, our computer system is not ready to accept these things. People don't even know how to access it. There are still the stories coming out of people having to wait at least 7 days to get an answer. And if you've got to import something or even export something to a client who's expecting maybe on a tight delivery deadline, so much for your, exports to the EU, which again, you would always more prefer, because they are our closest trading partner. It is cheaper to send something to them than it is to Canada, USA, Mexico, Brazil, Australia, New Zealand. Far cheaper to send it to the EU than it is to those countries. Even if we have these, quote, fantastic trade deals, those will not change the cost. But of course, as is always, they never understood what, again, the world that is the modern trade system and how it works, and how us leaving, again, the single market customs union has drastically affected us. And of course, I remind you as always, that fantastic saying by Daniel Hannan, that only a fool talks about leaving the single market and customs union. Again, something that Leave promised they would not leave. And yet, here we are. So, as always, thank you very much for watching. Please do remember to hit that like, share, and subscribe button. And of course, down below, there are links to my Patreon page and a one-off donation link called Buy Me Coffee, where you can, buy me coffee. And as always, thank you very much to all those people who do support the channel that way, as well as all the YouTube memberships that we now have as well. Thank you very much for supporting the channel. So, as always, thank you very much for watching, and we'll see you all next